It's Ghost Queen. I'm doing sort of a video response to a video I watched last night by Eye of the Star, and the name of the video was No, You Cannot Become a Witch. I'll put a link in the description to that video. Um, Now, this is something very often talked about in the magic community, the occult community. Um, and I just want to talk about it a little bit and give my opinion and whatnot. Um, First off, I will say I watched her video. I liked it very much. I agreed with almost all, if not all, of what she had to say in her video. So I'm not going to go into too much depth about the video itself. Just knowing that I pretty much agree with it, you can go ahead and watch it yourself and form your own opinions. But this is a subject that, floats around a lot. And I kind of think in a lot of ways life is sort of a dichotomy, because on the one hand, I really do hold the opinion that humans are very, very creative, and they sort of have a lot of untapped potential and creativity within themselves that they don't normally access. However, I think they're extremely destructive as well. But, I don't generally like to dissuade people. I'm much more of the school of thought that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So I think it's better to prop people up and boost them up, and you'll get much better response from them, and they'll succeed much better with positive reinforcement and input. However, having said that, I guess the best metaphor to use is that, we can't be everything. You can definitely try your hand at things that just aren't for you, aren't your niche. And we can always take on too much. The world, not everybody can be a brain surgeon. We need garbage men too, and we need builders, and, not everybody can have the rich, high-powered jobs. We need laborers. There's got to be balance in the world. Everybody can't do the same thing. So, seeing what's happening with witchcraft right now and magic and the occult, it's really oozing its way into popular culture, into the mainstream, and being more readily accepted. And it's become a trend. It's trendy to be a witch. Now, I saw the same thing happen with the paranormal. That wasn't as well known or well accepted. And then, Ghost Adventures had this huge hit TV show, and now suddenly, and then a bunch of other TV shows came about, and now the paranormal is a lot more common. And you're not such a weirdo if you're involved in it. Now, the same sort of thing, like I say, is happening with witchcraft and with witches. And now it's cool and trendy to be a witch. A lot of people look at it that way, and they feel like if they identify as a witch and label themselves as a witch, they will be feared, and they will be looked at as being mysterious and interesting and cool, and that whole thing. It's becoming trendy. So, oh, there goes my cigarette. So you got a lot more people calling themselves a witch nowadays. It's a trendy thing. Now, are they all witches just because that's what they want to be and that's what they're naming themselves as? Well, first of all, once again, I will say I'm of two minds. I think naming something gives it power. And I have always said, if you want to be something, start calling yourself that. That's a first step. And I do think there's power in that. However, does that mean anybody who calls themselves a witch, are they a witch? Do they have the same skills and gifts as other witches? No, that not necessarily, you know. And like I say, overall, I think I pretty much agree with Carrie. You know, I just don't think everyone can be a witch or is a witch. I do think it's something you're born with. I think it's just part of your identity so strongly that, you know, you couldn't change it if you tried. Like, you can't get away from it. It's who you are. You know, when you identify with nature and the natural world and the elements and animals and alchemy, you know, when all these things are just so much a part of who you are, you know, it's just, there's natural gifts attached to those areas that probably can't be taught and can't be learned. It's just, it's like a talent, you know. You either have it or you don't. You know, there are certain people that are more skilled at playing music. You know, they're born with this gift, this talent. And I think it's the same with witches. So yeah, I really do agree a lot with her video. And then it also led me into thinking about two other subjects that, once again, this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I'm going to express it because it is my opinion. You know, there seems to be this thing with calling yourself a Christian witch, and that you can somehow combine the two. And in my mind, now I'm generalizing here, you know, and I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to say on the whole, I feel like a lot of the people that call themselves Christian witches are people who, for some reason, are having, you know, too much trouble abandoning their Christian upbringing or, you know, that dogma. They can't abandon it altogether because they feel too guilty. They feel too much shame. They're too attached to it. They can't cut the cord there. So they are somehow going to combine it with a practice and craft. And I just kind of don't feel that the two go hand in hand. And you know, and if you're sort of tied up in that dogma, in that fear, in that shame, and you don't want to be, you know, bad, you don't want to be considered quote unquote bad, you know, by calling yourself a witch, so you kind of try to, you know, make it a little bit better by calling yourself a Christian witch, you know, so you're still in with Jesus, I guess, you know. The whole thing to me just seems kind of silly, and yeah, I guess I just don't feel like those people are real witches. Now, if, you know, I could get attacked for that, and I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with me, but it's just my opinion. You can feel differently. So, and then the other thing that sort of ties into that as well is the whole sort of white, gray, black. You know, you're either a white witch and a light worker, you know, and you follow the reed, or, you know, you're a black witch, you know, and you practice black magic and you're bad and evil. And and then, you know, some people, they don't want to identify with either, so they call themselves a gray witch. You know, they're in the middle. And while I won't discount that sometimes labels can be useful, I think, you know, these labels, I do not feel that they're useful. And I think that people who are identifying as such, whether it's one extreme or the other, or in the middle, I think they're missing the point. And the whole point. And yeah, that's just my opinion. I just don't vibe with those sorts of people. And so I wanted to mention that in this video today. I think it's really hard, you know, if you, I've said this before, I'm saying it again, if you're looking for any substance out there, I think it can be really difficult, especially on YouTube. That's probably the worst place to learn about witchcraft and magic and the occult, because it's just, there are so many, you know, trendy, cutesy shopping witches, where it's like, it's about something else, but not about what I see as witchcraft. And, it's a popularity contest. It's a cutesy fun thing. It's not, just because you may dress like a goth and, come up with some, name like Salem Moon or something like that and plop yourself on YouTube and say you're a witch. No. Just no. So, yeah, that's my personal opinion, guys. Like I say, I've struggled myself sort of finding anything of substance on YouTube when it comes to witchcraft. I do love Eye of the Star. I've watched her for years. I watched her under her other channel name. I have a lot of respect for her. And I think that, some of these trendy sort of witches who just want to seem cool or scary or interesting or mysterious because they don't have anything else to bring to the table, I guess, they, they're also going to put themselves in sort of these positions of authority and kind of claim knowledge, which they're then trying to impart to people who are seeking knowledge. And, it just ends up being a whole lot of shit for people to wade through and a waste of people's time, and those are exactly the type of people who shouldn't be putting themselves in some sort of teacher type role, because they don't have the wisdom to offer or to impart, and really they're going to be sort of leading people astray, in my opinion. Yeah, so those are those are some of my thoughts about real witches, natural born witches. And again, it's the same with the paranormal community. You can find a lot of people who will create their stories, their backstories, any way that they wish. It's the same like fudging a resume. They've been practicing witchcraft since they were 5, and they come from, a deeply secretive magical tradition. Yeah, okay. I doubt it, but okay. But, that doesn't mean that you're more powerful or more knowledgeable than, someone who's been practicing less amount of time, or isn't affiliated with a particular tradition. So yeah, all these boastful claims, it's kind of like thou doth protest too much. Like if you're confident and secure in who you are and your gifts and your abilities and your talents, you don't need to shout them from the rooftops. And you don't need to sell people on them. You don't need to convince people. And I do agree also with Carrie saying that, a real witch will be able to sense, whether you're a real witch also, and whether you have anything to offer. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm sure a lot of that comes across as a little snarky, and sorry, I have a little bit of a snarky personality at times. I'm trying to be a little jokey about it, but, like I say, these are my opinions, and not necessarily going to be a popular opinion, because there's going to be a lot of people out there who want to sell themselves as some, either really sweet witch, really good, pure, sweet witch, or a really scary, evil witch, and sell these kind of narratives that none of them fly. So that's it, guys. Check out her video. She's fantastic. Let me know your opinion. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think you have to be born a witch, or is it something that can be taught? Can be learned? Do you have to have some innate gifts? I personally feel that it's connected to DNA, and ancestry. but not necessarily in the way that some people talk about. So it is an interesting subject, and I wanted to just chat about it quickly here tonight, although I'm pretty long-winded. I think that's been a 15-minute video. So if you stuck around this long, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching and listening, and I hope you have a great weekend. I bid you adieu.